Hi, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for watching and for subscribing. And if you're just visiting, please consider subscribing. So as you know, I've tested a lot of different fragrances this year. I did a lot of sampling videos. I love filming these videos. And I wanted to do a wrap-up of sorts about all the different fragrances that I have tested and talk to you about the good, the bad, and the somewhere in between. Let's call them the so-so fragrances. And specifically, I wanted to concentrate on this year's releases because, as you know, I test different fragrances, some that were released this year and others that were released earlier. I test fragrances that interest me, but the ones that I'm going to talk to you about today are the ones that were specifically released in 2024. So basically the best and the worst and the somewhere in between of 2024. So what should we start with? The best, the worst, or the in-betweens? Let's do the in-betweens, which is kind of, they were okay, but not great. And I'm going to start with the ones that I just talked about very recently, the two newest releases from Creed, Delphinus and Centaurus. I don't know, I'm probably not pronouncing this correctly. Now, I think both of these are really nice, kind of fall and winter type of fragrances. They all have this kind of warm, ambery, sort of powdery kind of feel to them, Again, if you want a lot more details, please go and watch the video where I tested them, but just giving you the overall feel. There is some different, like the fragrances are not, even though they were released together, they're not the same, but they have a very similar feel. I would just say that Centaurus, in my opinion, leans slightly more masculine and Delphinus is a little bit more feminine, but in reality, they're really unisex and both are nice. Like I said, warm, powdery, ambery, somewhat sweet. One is a little bit more smoky than the other. One is perhaps a little bit more leathery than the other. They're both really nice. I'm putting them in so-so category because even though they're nice, but there's nothing that really stands out about either one of these. They're not that memorable to me. And especially given the price point, which I think Creed's price point is just out there, really out there. Even though all fragrances are super, super expensive right now, but I don't know. To me, Creed's fragrances are not, the pricing is not justified. And so given the price and given the lack of something super special in them, I'm putting them in so-so category, but the way they smell is quite nice. Another fragrance that I'm putting in this kind of so-so category is Äican from Kajal. Again, a fragrance that I talked about not so long ago. Now, this is a beautiful, sweet, juicy, fruity explosion, musky, just delicious, like mouth-watering type of fragrance. Is it beautiful? Absolutely beautiful. And, I think all Kajal packaging in bottles is just beautiful as well. Great release, great fragrance. It smells beautiful. I would totally wear this fragrance. So why is it not in the best category? Well, because it is not unique. To me, scent profile is not unique at all. We have so many fragrances at this point in this similar scent profile. Even take other fragrances from Kajal, for example, like Dahab. I think it's quite similar. Herbapur, Cassiopeia, Kirky. I mean, There are many fragrances in this scent profile. Are they identical? No, but in my opinion, at this point, the scent profile is just unoriginal. And even though it smells great, it lands in the kind of in-between, so-so category. And there's one more fragrance that I'm going to put in this so-so category, and I was so tempted to put this in the best category, but if I'm being honest and objective here, I can't. This goes in the so-so category for me, and that is the newest Xerjoff in the Tony Iommi series, the Deified, that came out earlier this year. You know, I think all of you that have watched even a few of my videos know by now that the original Tony Iommi is my number one fragrance of all time. It's like, it's me in a bottle. Somehow we just connected with that fragrance, and it's just a special bond that we have. And so the Deified, I wanted to love as well. And I think this is a really high quality scent. Honestly, they did a great job. And in a way, what they came out with makes sense, because I think it's a more masculine version of the original Tony Iommi, which I know many consider the original one masculine, but to me, it's not actually. And this one is less sweet. It's more leathery. It's more like there is more patchouli in there, and it's not like balanced by a lot of sweetness. There's barely any sweetness there. There is some rose in there. It's just a very powerful scent, very powerful. It smells really good, just not for me. To me, this one is absolutely 100% masculine. I cannot imagine it on myself. And so, you know, that this is kind of a personal thing, but it made me a little bit disappointed. You know, I so wanted to love this one and to be able to get it and to have it in my collection, because again, I have such a bond with the original one. But unfortunately, this one is purely masculine, in my opinion. It's a beautiful, high quality scent, but it's very masculine. It's definitely not for me, and that is why it lands in the so-so category. So now let's talk about what, good or bad. Well, let's end the video with the good. So let's move on to the bad. The real, in my opinion, again, please keep in mind, this is very, very subjective. These are my opinions based on my taste. You might completely disagree with me, which is absolutely fine. But I'm going to talk about the fails in this category. And I want to start with the one that I've actually never talked on the channel, but I did test it quite recently in the store, and I was highly disappointed. And I'm talking about Burberry Goddess Intense. Now, again, I have the original and I'm a big fan. It's a beautiful lavender and vanilla, but kind of on the fresh side. The only issue I have with that fragrance is that, you know, lasting power is not the best. And so when they came out with the Intense, I was actually quite excited. Even though I'm not a huge fan of flankers in general, I have very few flankers in my collection, but I thought, ooh, if this is a stronger, more potent version of the original, I might need to get it because I really, really enjoyed the scent. And so I went and tested it, and I was highly disappointed, I have to say, because what I love about the original is the balance of lavender and vanilla, and it's such a beautiful balance. In this one, unfortunately, lavender is so strong, like too strong. To my taste, it is way too strong, like too much lavender. I was disappointed. I know there are some people who love it. I know there are some who were disappointed like I was. Again, it's a personal choice, but for me, and honestly, I can't speak about the performance of the Intense one. I didn't wear it long enough to test the performance, so I can't speak about that. But I didn't even care about the performance because I just did not enjoy the scent. So for me, the original is the way to go. But again, there might be some of you that prefer the Intense version. Next one, and this was probably, I would say this was my biggest disappointment of 2024. And that is because I love this house. I've loved this house for years, and especially their gourmand fragrances. Of course, I'm talking about the house of Kerosene. I mean, do I need to say more? Unknown pleasures, right? An incredible gourmand. And so they released another vanilla scent, and I was so excited. I thought, oh, my Kerosene collection might grow. But thankfully, I decided to test it first. The fragrance is Promises. Well, for me, it was all about broken promises. This was so disappointing. I mean, it's a slightly ambery vanilla, completely uneventful, completely boring. It's a scent about nothing. I hate saying it because I'm a huge Kerosene fan. Huge. I love this house, you know? And Promises was just a huge disappointment. Yeah, for me, it was a definite no, and I was just so let down. I mean, like I said, they create incredible gourmands. The vanilla base that they have in their fragrances is outstanding, out of this world. To me, it is so special. Why didn't this fragrance have it? I mean, they can create ambery vanilla. That's amazing. And this one was just so uneventful, so run-of-the-mill. Just, yeah, this was the biggest letdown of 2024. Another fragrance that was a disappointment to me is Maraschino from Sospiro. So far, I have to admit, I haven't had the best luck with Sospiro. I'm not connecting with their fragrances. There is something in all of them that is missing the mark for me. I don't know. And this one is the same. I mean, I'm still enjoying cherry scents, and I thought the notes look great. I mean, this has to be great. And it just wasn't. It was weak. It was not interesting. It was on slightly, I don't know, body wash shampoo-y side. It was just not up to par. I mean, you know, once upon a time, cherry scents were rare, and now that's no longer the case. There's so many beautiful cherry scents that have come out in the last couple of years. It needs to be better. It needs to be better. For me, if you ask me about cherry scents, I would never recommend this one. There's so many others that are so much better. So unfortunately, Maraschino from Sospiro, I think, was a flop of this year. Another one that people were hyping up quite a bit at the beginning of the year, but I did not agree with the hype, is Mango Oud from the house of Gritti. I mean, mango, again, I love the note of mango. I did a full dedicated video this summer about this note. I have so many mango fragrances. I've tried so many, and I would still love to try more and try to get more bottles in my collection because I just love this note. It's probably but really my favorite fruity note for the summer. I think there is nothing better. And given how much hype this fragrance received, I really thought this was going to be a shoo-in. And again, I'm so glad that I tested it first. Yeah, there is so much oud in this fragrance. Mango, yes, it's kind of there, but it's not all that strong. It's not all that pronounced. It's not all that sweet. It's not all that juicy. This is not the kind of mango that I'm looking for. Now, if you're looking for a fruity oud fragrance with a heavy dose of oud, this would be the one for you. But that's not what I'm looking for. I don't mind a little bit of oud, adding something, you know, strong and special and kind of a kick to a fragrance. I don't mind that. But there has to be, this is mango oud, well, there has to be mango in there. There has to be a substantial, juicy, sweet mango. I just didn't get that. So for me, I don't think this fragrance was worth the hype, and I'm putting it on the bad list. And that brings us to the last disappointment of this year. This one, I have to be honest, it didn't surprise me all that much that it was a disappointment for me. I kind of unfortunately expected it because I've had a similar experience with a few other fragrances from this house, but still, you know, it was a disappointment. And that is Latar Tatin from Jousset Parfums. It's their latest gourmand fragrance. You know, they create a lot of gourmand scents, and you know, how can a gourmand be a flop for me, for someone who absolutely loves gourmands? Unfortunately, that is what I experienced with a lot of their fragrances. They're just too gourmand. They're too photorealistic, you know. It's almost overpowering. Like, I hate to say it, but the gourmand could be overpowering, as it turns out. And their latest gourmands are too much for me. Like, does it smell nice? Yes. If I was given some kind of, I don't know, a dessert to eat that smelled like that, would I want to try it? Absolutely. But do I want to smell like this all day long? No. It's just a little bit too much. It's a little bit overpowering. The sweetness and the photorealism of this scent is just too much for me. So unfortunately, I have to put this one in disappointments as well. And that finally brings us to the best releases of 2024. Now, please keep in mind, I'm sure there were many more great releases this year, but my goal is not to test all of the new releases. I only test fragrances that interest me. So my list is based on the fragrances that I have tested this year that also came out this year. And let's start, since we just finished the bad list with the gourmand, let's start the good list, the best, with the gourmand as well, that again, I just tested recently, and it was because you guys, the viewers, suggested that I needed to test this scent, and that is Creme Brulee from Theodoros Kalotinis. Now, this is a great gourmand. This truly smells like creme brulee to me, which I love. I just love creme brulee as a dessert and as a fragrance note, you know, and I think this definitely smells like creme brulee. And although it is sweet, it is delicious, like I can recognize creme brulee, but it's still, you know, it doesn't smell like dessert. It still smells like perfume. Like a perfume, I think, has to be a perfume, you know, it can't just smell exactly like a dessert. There has to be something perfumey in it, and that's what kind of separates these two. You know, Latar Tatin is just a pure dessert, whereas creme brulee smells like creme brulee, but it is still a perfume. I hope it makes sense. So this is wonderful. This is absolutely beautiful release. I love this one. And you will see that there are a few fragrances from this the best release list that I have added to my collection. Definitely, I have a couple of full bottles. Now, the next one is Donna, Karan, Cashmere, and Palo Santo. If you watched my haul, you saw that I got a full bottle, and this was a blind buy, you know, so this did not appear in any of my testing videos. However, it is a new release of this year, and oh, this is incredible. This is so good. This is sweet, woody, fruity, delicious. Oh, this is absolutely delicious. I'm telling you, in the last few months since I got this scent, I have not been able to put it down. Like, I'm trying not to use it as often as I reach for it, as I want to reach for it. It is so incredible. This is really one of my favorite releases of this year. If you enjoy kind of sweet, sort of gourmand, like this definitely doesn't smell like any kind of dessert, but it has sweet vanilla in it. But if you enjoy those types of scents, you absolutely must try this one. I think it's fantastic. And do I even need to say anything additional about the next one? I mean, you had to know that this one was going to be on the list. Sun-Gria from Lorenzo Pazzaglia. I mean, I went on and on about this fragrance throughout the summer. This one I did test first. I had a sample. I talked about it in the video, and I got a full bottle because to me, it's a fantastic scent. This is not for everyone. I don't think everyone will like it, but it really, again, it kind of smells like Sun-Gria. You know, it's so amazing. It's probably, it was my most used fragrance this summer. Honestly, I think I mentioned in some video, I went on a trip for like 3-4 days, and I don't like to take a lot of fragrances when I go on trips, and this was the only bottle that I took, and I wore it every day, and I loved it every day. Fantastic release. Again, I think one of the best. This is for the summer. It's a must. Next one that I also got a full bottle of is from Xerjoff. So I do have a Xerjoff on the best list, and that is Quattro Pizzi. So surprising because this is coconut and tuberose scent, and tuberose is quite present there. You know, you can tell it's a tuberose, but again, it's a wonderful, wonderful tuberose. It is so good, and together with the sweet, creamy coconut, it's just amazing. And I love this fragrance. Again, I've used it a lot, and in my books, this is one of the best releases of this year. And let's end with a fragrance that I don't have a full bottle of, but I did test it and I loved it. And that is Bois de Santal from the House of Brandt, a completely new to me house. And this one just captivated me completely. This is a sandalwood fragrance. Again, sandalwood in it is very sweet and smooth and creamy and warm and woody, and oh, it is so, so good. It's just like enveloping kind of scent, like you're sitting in this beautiful cloud of sandalwood. It's just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I loved this fragrance. I think it's probably one of the most beautiful sandalwood scents that I have ever tried. And again, sandalwood can be tricky for me. And I know that there are quite a few people that sort of perceive sandalwood in a similar way. There are many sandalwood heavy fragrances that have that kind of pickle juice kind of vibe. And this one does not. This is, like I said, sweet, warm, smooth, creamy, amazing. So yeah, this one is beautiful and definitely one of the best releases of 2024. So there you go. This is my list of the good, the bad, and the so-so. Please let me know what do you think about my choices, and definitely share with me what would be on your list for all of these 3 categories. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up, to subscribe, and to comment. And I will see you soon in the next one. Bye.